It says, but what does it say? The word is near you, in your mouth. And where? And in your heart. Then it says that. That is the word of faith which we preach. What word of faith did Paul preach? What exactly was the message from Paul? The word is near to you, in your mouth and in your heart, in your mind. It's important. Because in that same chapter, if you look at verse 5, see verses 4 and 5, for Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone who believes. For Moses writes about the righteousness which is of the law. Who writes? Moses writes thus, the man who does. The man who does those things shall live by them. In other words, under the law, it is the man who does and works shall live by them. That is the context. But then Paul says, now regarding my ministry, this is the word of faith. Say, word of faith. This is the word of faith that we preach. What is the word of faith that we preach? The word is near you in your mouth and in your heart. That's a pretty big difference because it's all mixed up in the system. In the system, they say yes with our mouths and with our hearts, but we have to work. So when I say you have to do it, listen carefully, because this is a matter of life and death for you. Today's message. We are in the new millennium. If you do not grasp these guidelines, you fall from the word of faith. It is possible that there are people in the Growing in Grace World ministry who are mixing things up, especially when there are problems. Once Paul, in the face of persecution, struggles and temptations, and in his weakness, stated that he pleaded with the Lord to remove those things from him. As one might say, Lord, may I? Like just as in the days of old, may I perform a fast, exert myself, or perhaps offer a special petition? And they replied to him, my grace is sufficient. Don't bring me anything else here. What I want is your mouth and your heart. Your mouth. Oh, Pastor, but that's so easy. Exactly. The disabled person, the one in the wheelchair, the one in the hospital. He rates you just as agile and healthy. The old man. Because it is quite easy. After you are alive, you can use your mouth and your mind. And those two ingredients are important. It is not meditation. It is your mouth. The mouth speaks. And since we have the same spirit of faith, according to what is written, I believed and therefore I spoke. So take a look at what Romans 7:25 says to add even more weight to what we are currently discussing. 7 verse 25, what's it say? I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord, Abba Father, yes. It says our Lord. So then, with the mind I myself serve whom? But if you work, it says, but with the flesh the law of Moses, the law of sin. It says the law of sin. In other words, if you place your body here, if you place your own self-sufficiency, so you violate that principle because you fall under the law of sin, even though sin has been removed. But the one who works does not realize that it has been removed.